Welcome to the Dirty Penguin Presents Movies. We are the Dirty Penguin. My name is Kevin. I'm always joined by my co-host, Doug, Jessica, and Andy. And we are a longtime general knowledge trivia team turned podcast hosts here to talk about all things movies, to rank and file based on specific and non-specific genre. Whatever we can come up with, that's what the Dirty Penguin means. So our first season is upon us. The first genre/topic we have today is movies with a backdrop in Las Vegas. Group, what do you think about the topic here?
A Las Vegas movie. And when I was looking at all of our lists of what movies we selected, it has to be it's not just about a movie that has like a scene or a moment in Las Vegas. Most Las Vegas movies are about people who travel to this Mecca or this avatar, this
because nobody's from Las Vegas.
Right. You travel there and you have a dream, you have a hope that you're special, and somehow Lady Luck's going to pick you, and you're going to get the American dream. That is somewhere in and if you look at our list that we've individually picked and chosen, most of the movies fit somewhere in that form. There's somebody going to Vegas for a dream, and whether or not that dream gets fulfilled, whether or not they are picked and chosen and lucky or not.
Yeah, and I guess for some of those movies, that dream is not always the happiest of dreams.
No, it is not.
Well, I mean, Vegas is kind of like a Disney World for adults.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like all your dreams and fantasies can come true. It's kind of where you get the whole, what stays in Vegas, or what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So, and so everybody kind of like lets themselves go, because no one goes gambling every day. No one stays out. Most people just live their normal lives, work 8 to 5. No one's like at 4 a.m, still drinking, sitting at a craps table, or going to see shows
and wide-eyed.
Yeah.
Just like up at 4 a.m. Exactly.
So, I mean, it's like, so when you get to movies about Vegas, it's all about like wild, crazy experiences. That's what it tends to be about.
Well, in some of the movies, in some of our choices, and if you're looking at, I guess we'll get into our individual lists in a moment. Sometimes Las Vegas is it's a third character of the movie. It is its own thing.
Absolutely.
If you look at The Hangover, which is on, I think two of us have that on our list. One of us has it on our list. The Hangover takes place in Vegas. And Las Vegas actually ends up being a character in the film more so than a setting, because it's an excuse to include all the zany, crazy, wild characters that show up and are part of the film. It's like the explanation of why you couldn't do The Hangover in
Seattle,
in Duluth.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, in Duluth.
Well, even Seattle, you could probably do.
You can do
because that's but like.
But you're not going to have Mike Tyson in the middle of the film. You're not going to have the guy who marries the stripper. You're not going to have the guy doing all the.
Not picking on Seattle.
Right.
It would just be a different experience.
Maybe not. Let me rephrase. Seattle has like Seattle things to do in it, right? They've got like the fish market and the big thing, the
Needle, Space Needle.
Exactly.
Well, 50 Shades of Grey
exactly.
made Seattle their little home.
Exactly. And isn't Twilight up in that area?
It's in Forks, yes.
But there are also movies that have Las Vegas or have a scene in Las Vegas that don't have where Las Vegas does not end up being a character and or have that the Las Vegas mentality of, we've come here to fulfill this dream. I'm a special person. Lady Luck's going to shine on me. Great example. Great movie. Pay It Forward. Okay, Pay It Forward's a great movie. Takes place in Las Vegas. Oscar-winning movie. Takes place in Las Vegas. But you don't think of it as a Las Vegas film. It doesn't have anything.
It could have been an Albuquerque movie, and nothing would have changed.
And nothing
that could have been said in Duluth, and it wouldn't have. The story, it wasn't. The city wasn't a part of it. I get you.
And that's why it doesn't really make it on our top 5 Las Vegas movie. It's a great movie, but it doesn't make it on our top 5
because it doesn't play a prominent backdrop. I think that's a great explanation of the genre.
Yeah, it separates a lot of the films, and some of us, I think, to different extents, have Las Vegas as the character or a part of that in the film, and then there are some movies on our list that I have to wonder, would it have been the same film if it had taken place anywhere else?
Well, there are at least one movie on the list that the Las Vegas scene was so important that it actually made it on the list because of that reason. One of the to the Greek.
Okay.
Oh, that's
it was
right.
such an important scene. It's not set
right.
in Las Vegas,
But it is
but
the
it's
backdrop
it's
of
one
that.
of the most memorable scenes of the movie.
Exactly.
I think.
On some of our individual lists, the
Yeah.
fuzzy walls. I mean, the video at the end is from the experience in Vegas.
The callback to Vegas.
Exactly.
At the end.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Yeah. So I think playing a character in the film is the big differentiator, because I think even what you're saying, Jessica, how in Get Him to the Greek, there's a very key transitional scene that happens in Vegas. Even though it's only maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the entire movie, that's still a transitional aspect of the film. And we remember it because it was, of course, immortalized in the Fuzzy Walls video. Aaron, just stroke the fuzzy walls.
So should we present each of our individual?
Yeah, I think if we're going to talk about, since we're
Yeah.
already alluding to it, let's
already
talk about some of our top
Let
5.
one out of the bag, and it wasn't even my movie.
She let one out of the bag. Jessica, why don't you go ahead? Why don't you go first? Ladies first. The way that we outlined this was we all decided to get together, and with that criteria, the backdrop being Las Vegas setting, with that being the criteria, we thought of our own personal top 5 list. What is our top 5 movies with a backdrop in Las Vegas? Jessica, please go ahead.
Here we go. Here's my top 5 picks. Las Vegas. Showgirls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Hangover, Part 1. Ocean's 11, the remake with George Clooney, 2001. Swingers. And Dodgeball, A True Underdog Story.
Oh, so 2 Vince Vaughn movies, eh? Isn't that right? 2 Vince Vaughns?
Yeah.
I don't ever think about Dodgeball being a Vegas movie.
I know. That
Yeah.
I think this is
Because
one
they're
of the
underdogs.
of the
the big
4 of us. This is one of the lighter lists. Has more comedies on it than the other picks. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Well, so just I brainstormed a whole bunch, and I mean some of mine are on there that I
True.
mirror hers on Ocean's 11. So
Yep.
I selected Ocean's 11 too, or as well, not
Also-
Ocean's 11,
also
the
as well.
second, the
Right.
sequel.
Right.
And Ocean's 11 is a movie that it couldn't have been done. Like the plot of Robbing a Casino, it's a very Vegas movie. That breathes Vegas.
Absolutely.
Probably because it was also a remake of the Sinatra 1960 film, which
Of the same name.
which at the time, they got the Brat Pack together to make a film, and the
2001 movie.
2001 version is they tried to create a 2001 Brat Pack for the film.
Yeah.
They got
And-
close.
Absolutely. I mean, they
It was fun to watch.
yeah, absolutely.
them.
They worked well together in that
Yeah.
movie. I shared 2 with you, Jessica. I shared Ocean's 11 and Get Him to the Greek, but I also had Up in the Air.
Yeah.
Up in the Air, another Clooney movie. Rain Man and Casino. I mean, how much more Vegas can you get than Casino? I mean, I'm going to throw that out there right now. How much more Vegas can you get than Casino? I mean, the mobster mentality where Vegas was born.
And Casino is it's another one of those movies that appears on multiple lists. It's also on Doug's top 5.
My top 5 was Bugsy, Casino, Go, Indecent Proposal, and Con Air.
I thought of Go. I really did, and I wanted to put it on my list, but I consider that less of in the backdrop of Vegas and more in the vein of the backdrop is drugs. I would have put that on a drugs list.
Well, my question, and it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. If you put Set Go in Los Angeles, would you even notice?
Exactly.
That's true. I've seen
it's
that
rave
movie.
culture, right? I mean, rave culture.
Well, and I mean,
Yeah.
like the Las Vegas scenes in Go was the English guy, and then remember they went to the buffet and the guys got sick. Tay Diggs. Tay Diggs.
Oh
Tay
yeah,
Diggs.
yeah.
Wait, was this with Katie Holmes?
Katie Holmes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like just like and then they went to the strip club and like it's very Vegas-y, the strip club and everything else. But that was it. I just really like Go. It's not Vegas wasn't the character in the movie. It really could have been, they went to Atlantic City or they went to
Doug, the biggest surprise on your list for me is Indecent Proposal.
That was same here.
It didn't appear on anybody else's list.
That went under the radar
If
for
you
me.
told me that we were going to be talking about Indecent Proposal today, I would have said it was because Jessica presented it. So I was
Not to be
surprised.
stereotyping
or
I'm not
anything like that,
stereotyping.
right?
I'm just
So Indecent Proposal. One of the main reasons I did it, and to be fair, I never even seen it.
oh
But it's such the zeitgeist of everyone knows Indecent Proposal, and I mean that's almost the down on your luck. Let's go to Vegas movie.
well, then
It does exemplify what Andy was saying about someone goes with a dream, right? I mean, what's bigger of a dream than to build your house? Finish building your house. What?
No, it's right. It's
without
right.
getting into it too much.
It should be. We should discuss it today, and we'll get deeper into it. I'm sure on a later episode. But you doubled down. Not only did you put it on your list,
Good choice.
but you
of
made
words.
it one of our must watches for this season. Just so our format, we all selected movies, and one of our movies we made it our must watch. The other group had to watch it before we put together. So you doubled down on it, which again surprised me a little bit.
So a little bit behind my thought process on this was of my list. I hate Con Air. I hate that movie with a passion. And then I would have thought
as long as I've known you, that was the other surprise. Indecent Proposal was surprising to me, and I was like, wow, Doug, I didn't know. Okay, but when you put Con Air, as much shit that I've heard you talk about the 7 deaths of John Malkovich, that was a big surprise.
So Con Air is just the end of the movie. Happens to be in Vegas, so it's not really a Vegas movie. Bugsy was probably the movie I wanted to go with, but since I knew we were doing Casino, I didn't really want to double down on the mobsters. And I mean, Bugsy is how Las Vegas was made because he literally made Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's a very.
And then Casino was almost going to be like the Universal had to be because it is the Vegas movie.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of assumption that Casino is the top number one of our top 5. That is the Vegas. If Vegas was putting odds on all of our lists, it has the best odds for being our number one. I'm not saying it will be. So Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was my must watch. We randomly selected our topic for the season, right? We knew we were going to do Las Vegas movies. The first movie that popped into my head that goes right into my list is The Cooler. I just immediately think of it as
I've never seen
my go-to Las Vegas film.
Me neither.
So, and hopefully at some point we'll get more into the discussion of The Cooler. But so The Cooler immediately jumped to my list. Then I started looking at Vegas movies. I went with Viva Las Vegas, probably the oldest movie on any of our lists, the Elvis musical with Anne Margaret. And to me, that kind of where Elvis hadn't become it yet, but he's on his way to becoming the avatar of Las Vegas. He is the physical embodiment by the time he, at some point in his career, becomes the embodiment of Las Vegas. Lost in America made my list, the Albert Brooks comedy. And then my final film on my list was The Grand, which kind of like Doug picked Con Air and doesn't even like it. I'm not a big fan of The Grand. I'm a fan of mockumentaries. It's a mockumentary film where it's, kind of like Spinal Tap, where they pretend like it's a documentary, but it's just, as a film, ends up being terrible because it never fully commits to being a mockumentary. It rides a fine line between also having a screenplay and a story that it's trying to tell. There's a ghost that shows up at one point. You can't have a ghost in your mockumentary. That's just a good, great mockumentary film is going to have a tie to reality.
Well, and I've never even heard of this movie. What is this? When is this? When did this happen?
Same here. What did you say your friend said about your list?
It was archaic, and my films are too old. And no one wants to hear about them.
Is this Well, in fairness, we asked you. You know, it's one thing when you tell people things that they didn't ask, but you know,
Right.
Of course, we all asked ourselves all of this in the first place.
So the grant was made in 2008.
Okay.
Woody Harrelson
Oh.
is the main character in it. It actually has kind of like an all-star kind of cast, and it has those some of those actors who are known for making mockumentaries in it. They're all going in to win a big poker tournament. They're playing a poker tournament,
like the group from Best in Show,
like the Christopher Guest,
Michael McKean's, and
it actually has Michael McKean in it.
Oh, really?
Yes. Although,
what about Eugene Levy?
No. It would have been better. Like I said, it would have been better.
Catherine O'Hara.
It would have been.
That's her name.
So hold on. It's
if it had committed to being a mockumentary, it would have been a much better film. But it did not. So it's.
Who's it directed by? Is it directed by Christopher Guest?
No. If it again would have been a much better film had it been. So we've all said our 5 picks. I think we need to talk about some of the movies that hovered near our list and didn't quite make it.
Yeah, so one of the ones that I felt like, so it made it on Jesse's list was Swingers. I thought that was, I mean, it was on and I watched it because it wasn't, even though it wasn't a thing on our watch list, but it's such a great movie. But I know it gets hated on, but Cool World, man.
It's okay.
I also had Ocean's 13 on mine. I thought that was I thought that should have been the second Ocean's 11, and that's probably maybe what they try to do.
I kind of wish we'd done one of the Ocean's movies.
As a must-watch?
11 or 13.
Yeah.
I mean, Ocean's 11, it's on 2 of our lists. It's just, it wasn't on our must-watch.
Is that the Sandra Bullock one? Who's
that's the latest one?
8. That's Ocean's 8.
That's 8.
Yeah.
See, I'm getting confused with all these numbers.
That's the all-female cast.
Yes, I didn't see that.
13 was the one where they did the whole bit about
Pacino.
Where she's like, "Oh, you're Julia Roberts."
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
that was the second one.
She was, but she wasn't. But she was. Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was the second one when they're like, "You look like Julia Roberts."
Oh, that is the second one. That is.
They
the
all
second
blend
one.
together.
Yes.
I know. That's
she's
exactly.
not in the. That's right. She's not in the third one. That is the second one. That's right. You're absolutely right.
That's with the French guy. Whatever.
Tess.
Now, another movie that didn't make our... So, Honeymoon in Vegas, which is like the comedy version of Indecent Proposal.
I'm going to have to say something here
Okay.
before we get into Honeymoon in Vegas. Does this movie happen to star either Sarah Jessica Parker or a male by the name of Kurt Russell? No. Yes? Oh, it is Nicolas Cage.
It's Nicolas Cage.
I thought Leaving Las Vegas was this movie when we were discussing it over.
So you were trying to make us watch Honeymoon in Vegas on our must-watch?
Yes,
And you
I
chose-
meant to pick that one.
Leaving Las Vegas.
And about first, I was waiting for Sarah Jessica Parker to show up.
The truth will out.
You were like, I thought this was going to be so much
I thought it was going to
funnier.
be a funny, lighthearted comedy.
No, wait.
That's
I'm
amazing.
glad I brought it up.
Did we talk about? We didn't talk about this. You
No.
and I didn't talk about
I
this.
thought when we were going back and forth on the 5th movie, you mentioned Leaving Las Vegas. I said that's the one with Sarah Jessica Parker. I can use a little Sarah Jessica Parker in my life.
Oh, my word.
And I said, let's do that one.
Oh,
So I was expecting a lighthearted comedy,
And you've got like
and I got Leaving Las Vegas
crippling
instead.
alcoholism and prostitution.
Yes.
Well,
Now-
this is also... Nicolas Cage is
He's in both of these movies.
He's in both the films.
Okay.
He's in a lot of Las Vegas movies. If you went to one actor that was going to be in
You
more
know, a
Las
movie I
Vegas,
love with
he's in
Nicolas
quite a few.
Cage, Snake Eyes.
I haven't seen that one either.
He's also in Con Air, which is on your list, right? He's
Well, we'll get into when we discuss Leaving Las Vegas. I'll get into my Nicolas Cage.
I mean, Honeymoon in Vegas has the classic scene with the parachuting Elvis.
Yes, that's what I thought we were going to watch. That's what That's what I was expecting.
That's right.
I mean, talk about that.
To dress
it's
like
definitely
a-
a great movie for Las Vegas being the wacky character.
That's why
and the
I
reason we
picked
can be
it, I
crazy
thought.
and wacky. And it includes Elvis as the avatar. And
What
it
was?
has
I'm
everything.
surprised no one chose the Ashton Kutcher one. What was that?
Oh,
What happens
with
in
Cameron
Vegas?
Diaz?
Yes,
Yeah.
what
No one
happens?
picked that. No,
That movie's
Probably
it's
for
not
good-
a good.
Yeah, I know.
probably for
It's
good
not a
reason.
good
Rob
movie.
Corddry is the best part of that movie just because he plays the typical Rob Corddry character. That's all he plays, and that's the only reason to watch that movie.
Well, it was lighthearted, and we probably could have used a little bit of that. in
we
our
probably
lives.
used some lightheartedness.
Yeah.
But it's not that good. No, I agree with you. It's not.
One of the ones that I wanted to put on there, but I mean, it's not a good. It's over the top. Come on, over the top, sly arm
I
wrestling.
know, but you get props for knowing over the
18
top and knowing that it's
18-wheelers.
Vegas and that it's an arm wrestling competition. in
It's
Vegas.
so
That's
80s.
So crazy.
I know.
It's so 80s. It's like BJ and the Bear, and that's like.
You say 80s like it's a negative thing. Like, there are good movies in the 80s. There are good movies in the.
I'm a child of the 80s.
Okay.
I mean,
I just like the theme song. Meet me halfway across the sky.
I tell
Doesn't
people all the
make
time,
any
man, we
sense.
got to take it over the top. Let's go over the top right now. We're going to go over the top. So,
Yeah, I have no idea what y'all are talking about. I've never seen this movie. I don't know the theme song.
You're
I
not
don't
missing
know any
out.
of this.
You really are not
the
missing
only thing
out.
that movie really made me wonder a lot was, is there really an arm wrestling competition nationwide?
You know what? It's just like the
That's
dance
the Ocho.
movies. It's like, oh, we're gonna go to the big dance off, and it's like, and then you go and there's like 1,000 people, and you're like, how come I've never heard of these dance offs, and how come I never go to these things?
Mhm.
Or the Karate Kid. Oh, you're going to the big karate tournament this weekend? Like, who does that?
Everybody knows about it. Everybody goes. That's like the thing to do. It's like, I mean, it takes like the idea of that Pleasantville idea where everything's happening in that movie is the only thing that's happening.
It's very,
Anywhere.
it's a very only in the movies type thing. Like, only in the
Yeah.
movies is like street dancing a thing. Only in the movies is arm wrestling competition, like packed stadiums.
And everybody knows how to do it.
No, it's life changing, and it's going to bring about a better world somehow. Life changing with this arm wrestling. It is what it is. So when we do in Las Vegas movies, and I said I got to do some research. I'm gonna look up some films. I'm gonna see some stuff I haven't seen. I'm gonna pick great movies, and I saw this Francis Ford Coppola film. Okay, so boom, the name. I'm expecting greatness, right? And it has Terry Garr, it has Raul Julia, Nastasia Kinski, Harry Dean Stanton. It's a musical with the music done by Tom Waits. The only character that actually sings in the film ends up being Nastasia Kinski. It's called One from the Heart. It was made in 1982. You guys ever seen this?
No, never even heard of this
it
one.
was so
But I like how
bad.
Terry Garr is in it.
It was so... Oh, she's in it. She's in it. I didn't know Terry Garr did so much nudity until I sat
Oh,
through
whoa,
One
Terry,
from the Heart.
whoa.
Yeah.
Write that one down.
one from the heart.
One from the heart.
No, I definitely say you should probably watch it just for the novelty of it. It is so weird. It's so bizarre. It's all filmed on a soundstage. Las Vegas is kind of a character in the background when they leave their little... They have this little hovel they live in, and they have a front yard with, like, no grass, and they have fights and arguments outside, and you got Vegas always in the background. When they go out at night, the soundstage is made up to look like Vegas, and they walk around in Vegas. It's a musical that nobody sings in. You just got Tom Waits singing these depressing songs in the back. It's a young couple seeking out the American dream and wanting to fall in love with one another, but they break up. They each have a night out with a random other person, and then they sort of... I don't want to give the movie away, but they...
It's okay.
Yeah,
You've
don't.
had 28
Spoiler alert.
third hand.
Yeah, so
I
they,
can't do the math.
and then they
You've had
slowly work
36
their way
years.
back together, I guess. I can't decide if it's just so bad because it's so real. Like, the people are just so... Their characters
Do
are...
they do
like, this
anything
could
in
really
Vegas?
happen.
I know they're from Vegas. You said it's all on a soundstage. Are
It
they?
is,
Are they?
but they're in Vegas.
They're in a casino.
Nastasia Kinski plays the circus girl. She's some
Oh, and then a
crazy circus
so it's
character.
circus.
But one of them's a waiter in Vegas, and one of them they
Okay.
go. Raul Julia's the singing and dancing waiter. She goes out on a date with Raul Julia. He goes out on a date with Nastasia Kinski, and then they end up getting back
I
together.
bet he's a very good-looking young man. In
It's
this.
also set on July 4th.
He was the Addams Family.
to tie into the
Dad.
American Dream thing.
Raul
It is
Julia.
so
Oh, yeah, yeah,
weird. Leprechaun 3 didn't make it anybody's list.
Is that the one with Jennifer Aniston?
That's what I was.
I
Gonna
considered
think
it.
that's the
It did
second
cross my
one.
mind to put it on the list, and then I thought, nah.
Well, they never show Leprechaun movies like they do other, like Child's Play's on all the time. I feel like, but not even the first one. All the goofy,
I know,
like
the
the Bride of Chucky and all
and
these,
the-
they're
yeah.
on constantly.
I'm a little
I
upset
don't
for
see
myself
Leprechaun on as much.
for not putting Mars Attacks
That
on
was
my list.
that. So like that made like the maybe list on mine. Mars Attacks. I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
I absolutely.
I missed that
But I
one.
think part of the problem with it, because I know a lot of people who hate the film, but I think it's because they don't. It's a type of sense of humor that either you find funny or
Exactly.
you don't, and I can't explain it to you.
Very
I
slapsticky.
can't teach you how to
yeah.
find it funny. Either you find it funny or you don't.
Well, and it's just the callback to the older, the Twilight Zone episodes of and the what's the other one? What's the other Twilight Zone-esque? Where aliens come and Mars.
Tales from the Dark Side?
Exact-
Or no, maybe Tales from the
Whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know what it was. It was another one of those Twilight Zone-y Outer Limits.
Outer
Limits.
Yes.
Type of show or of settings, like themes where it's aliens come and take over, and like even like the invaders from Planet X, or all of those great like dime movies that my parents used to talk about when they say, back when I was your age, I used to go see 2 movies for a nickel.
Yeah.
And it was followed by a cartoon, and I got free popcorn. That's what that reminds me of. That's a modern day version of that. And it's got a lot of great. Michael J. Fox is in it.
It's Jack Nicholson. Right?
Exactly. Jack Nicholson plays 2 parts in it. He plays.
So as we get, I'm kind of going up to day. So as we get to newer movies, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone did not make.
That wasn't
anybody's
that
list.
bad.
It's
I never
wasn't
saw
that
the whole
bad.
thing.
It was,
That's Steve Carell, right?
it's
Is that-
and Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
and,
I never saw
and they
the whole
kind of
thing.
played so they were both so goofy. It was kind of entertaining. It wasn't great.
How
But it was
close in
kind of
proximity
entertaining.
was that to Bruce Almighty?
Oh, maybe 10 years.
That's quite
Probably
separation
10.
there.
Yeah.
2013 is The Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Oh, really? Even that recently?
Also, that year was also Behind the Candelabra,
Oh,
which did not make anybody's list.
That's,
That's,
no, I
the
didn't. I didn't even
Liberace
think
that-
about
who-
that.
Yeah, the
who
Liberace.
does
But that was
Who
fascinating.
plays Liberace in that one?
Michael Douglas.
And
And
Matt Damon,
Matt
right?
Damon
That's right.
is his.
I remember
love
you and I
interest.
watched that.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it
was fabulous.
It was fabulous. Thank
totally
you.
fabulous.
Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Did not see the
2015.
Paul Blart
Yeah, you know what? I
franchise.
mean,
Talk about
I've
a
seen
movie
it.
that didn't need a sequel.
I've seen it. It's so dumb.
Well, of course
Talk
it
about a
was.
movie that didn't need a
It's
sequel.
so he goes to. It's a convention. They go to a convention.
Oh, of course, the convention
for
is that
security
in the arm
guards.
wrestling,
And-
competition.
Right? It's
The
the
mall-
security.
the
Vegas
mall
Vacation.
wrestling,
Vegas
right.
Vacation was always, was one that I really considered doing.
Yeah, that was that made my like maybe list, my top 15 or whatever. Was Vegas Vacation.
And the one I really wanted to do, just because of the corniness of it,
Yes.
It-
Dude,
it
is
crossed
that-
my-
Now,
it
is this
crossed
Kurt
my
Russell?
mind.
Is that one?
That's
with
Kurt
Kurt
Russell
Russell,
Okay.
that's-
There
and
we
Kevin
go.
Costner, where they're all Elvis
There-
impersonators.
David Arquette.
Okay.
And who's the other guy? Is it Tay Diggs?
That sounds like a
Not
fun
Tay
movie.
Diggs. Christian Slater, that's right.
John Lovitz is in it. Ice-T.
John
Ice-T.
Lovitz brings just joy and
Courtney
myrrh
Cox.
to every
Yeah.
movie he's in.
Kevin Pollak.
I like that
You
movie.
know-
That's just an all around fun movie. And that first Howie Long is that movie?
Mm-hmm.
That first like shoot up scene in the bank or in the casino is fantastic.
Now, I wish someone would have picked that because I've never seen it and it sounds fun. But you bring up Christian Slater, which brings up a movie we talked about, which was Very Bad Things.
Very Bad Things.
Very Bad
That's
Things.
right. Which is
Which I didn't love, but
it's a great movie.
it was hard to look
It's
away.
cringe. It's
It
cringe
was-
worthy.
yeah.
It's kind of like watching
It's
a train
cringe,
wreck.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
It's like watching that overnight the
Yeah.
blackout part of The Hangover.
Right.
Getting to see what.
Yeah, getting to see
Sure.
what happened in
Yeah.
the blackout part of The Hangover.
Which, by the way, what I thought of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Yeah, so for some reason we haven't even mentioned Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas yet. I watched. This was my first time to watch that.
So, Randy,
Really?
why did
Yes.
you? Why
You've
did
never
so
seen it?
Andy?
I had
Andy, you
never
chose
seen it.
this.
Yes.
Why did you choose this movie?
Well, a couple of reasons. One, we're talking about Las Vegas films, and it's a classic about Las Vegas, what Las Vegas is to American culture. It's based on the book Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's directed by my favorite director, Terry Gilliam. Not all of his movies are perfect, but he's one of my favorite directors just because I like his sense of fantasy and the way he melts fantasy into what he's doing. And he does a really good job of it with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's about the corruption of the American dream and what Las Vegas has come to stand for. It kind of also on my list with Lost in America. The two of them are kind of about the same thing, the same ideal that here you have Las Vegas and this desert, this Mecca, this American dream. I'm going to go there. I'm going to be lucky and I'm going to be successful. And you have two different versions of the same corruption affecting people. Albert Brooks is very light and funny, and the couple, he's trying to talk the casino owner into giving their money back. Be a great promotion if you just give us their money back right now. But Fear and Loathing is the darker version of the corruption and what you can get away with and what it's about. Like he says at some point, they want you. It's the only place where you can walk around completely drunk, stoned out of your mind. And they want you that way. They're going to usher you in, let you spend your money, let you throw your money, gamble, whatever you want away. I mean, that.
Yeah. So and I'll get into it more. I'm still on the fence with Fear and Loathing.
We'll unpack it.
Yeah,
I don't know how much I have to say about this. But the last movie we haven't discussed is your wonderful
my
choice.
Pick.
Yeah, Leaving Las Vegas.
No.
Oh,
no.
Showgirls. Yeah, we discussed it all. This is the last movie was Showgirls.
That's right.
Yeah, I sort of just ran down my top 5, but I'll focus on Showgirls for a second. I was a huge Saved by the Bell fan back in the day. Watched every single episode, seen all of them about 100 times.
Hey, what's your Chess with Friends screen name?
Find me on Chess with Friends, Chessie Spano. And
Awesome.
Yeah, so this goes beyond just wanting to see a really terrible movie about Vegas. I loved Jessie Spano. She, of course, stars the great Elizabeth Berkley stars in Showgirls and as Nomi Malone. And I've seen this movie many times. As a matter of fact, we already had it taped on our DVR. It's been on there.
Times?
It's been on
Fantastic.
there for
You saw this
2
movie
years.
many.
She'll watch it.
I
She'll
just
watch
can't.
it. She'll watch it on VH1 where they digitally add bras.
Is this like?
How bizarre.
Is it
Well,
like?
I don't
Is it
sit
like?
and watch
It's the
it
most
on a
awkward
Tuesday
thing.
afternoon.
Is it like a
I,
so bad it's good thing to you?
Yes, yeah, it is. Okay, I'm not saying this, but when I first was interested in it because of the connection to Saved by the Bell, I had to see this. I had to see this for myself.
I remember
rented
when
it from Blockbuster.
Hey, if you
I
go
remember.
to Ranker's top Las Vegas movies, okay, Ranker's list on the web,
Yep, Showgirls.
Showgirls,
Thank you.
out of the top 41 Las Vegas movies, Showgirls 21, right in the middle.
then-
I mean,
That's
right
if you want
smack-
something that epitomizes Las Vegas as what we have already talked about, yes, we'll get into some of the
If you-
technical details
Well, I'm
later.
talking about Rankers. If you took the Rankers list as it is, and with our movies that we've selected, number 5, Leaving Las Vegas, number 4, Rain Man, number 3, Ocean's 11, number 2, Casino, and Rankers list number 1 Las Vegas movie as The Hangover. Much different than if we went by Rotten Tomatoes freshness report and you took our movies from our list, you would have we have a tie for 5th place with Bugsy and Viva Las Vegas. Swingers in 4, Rain Man in 3, Up in the Air at 91% fresh,
Love that movie.
Yeah, it's such a good
It was
movie.
hard for
and
me not
the
to put it out
winner from my list, might I add, Lost in America at 97%.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Fresh. And then IMDb, I went ahead and looked at the IMDb to see what they had to say, and with our movies, it would be Fear and Loathing Ocean's 11, number 4, number 3, The Hangover, number 2, Rain Man, number 1, Casino. But their actual number 1 list on IMDb database for Las Vegas movies is The Godfather Part 2.
Oh, I
have never seen any of the Godfathers, and I'm just going to say that
That's
right
kind
now.
of, well, one, I'm a little embarrassed for you a little bit.
Oh.
Because I just wanted to get out of the way that The
Hey, there's
Godfather
people
Part-
out there that haven't seen Star Wars. I'm one of those people that haven't seen The Godfather. Okay?
Well, I'd probably
So
say
deal
Godfather
with it.
Part 2 is probably
I just have no interest.
one of the best
It's-
Las Vegas.
It's like 1A, 1B of like my movies. That's a movie I will always watch. If it's on, I will stop what I'm doing and watch it.
Yeah, but it didn't make your list though, because you don't really think of it as a Las Vegas.
Because they're moving out to Las Vegas and the whole
They're-
thing.
they're-
But it's The Godfather.
It's more of a mafia, more of a. It's not. It doesn't tie into Las Vegas like Casino does, right? Casino is more about being in Vegas. It actually has that part about the American dream, and we'll get into it, I guess, when we discuss
Yeah.
that much watch film. But The Godfather probably could topple any movie off. Godfather Part 2 could topple any movie off any of our lists.
And because it's so much, there's the Robert De Niro sequences, which have nothing to do with Vegas.
That's true. It's true. But just as a great film, you can't argue with that IMDb number 1 though. Godfather Part 2.
Yeah, I would never, but I don't consider it a Vegas movie. I just don't.
Yeah, I
Vegas
don't-
is in it. It's about something they talk about Vegas and moving to Vegas. Not
That would be the argument that I would make because that's a list that is specific to movies about Vegas or in Vegas, right?
Correct.
I think you have to define that category a little bit better than just the locale we're on location in Vegas, right? We're gonna have the back, we're gonna shoot behind circus, whatever that is. It's got to play an actual role. Like in The Hangover, at least they're in Vegas. I mean, yeah, they did the same thing in Thailand and then wherever else they did the other 7.5 movies. But
Funny you should say that too, by the way, because Hangover 2 Part 2 takes place in Thailand, and for whatever reason, it's on Ranker's list of Vegas movies at 26. Hangover
Bangkok, I
Part
think
2.
they're in
They're
Bangkok.
in Bangkok. They're not
Yeah.
even there. So that's why That's why you got to have a group like the Dirty Penguin come in and
Exactly,
go
to
through this
define
material
this.
to define this.
right.
Be able to toss out a classic film like The Godfather. And say,
Exactly.
you know what?
No,
Not
no, no,
truly
no.
a Vegas film.
But I will
You're
say,
wrong.
I will say the movies we chose are not a top 5 Vegas movies, are they? I mean,
Are you sure?
They're top 5
I
movies with a
Yeah,
common
but-
backdrop in Vegas.
I agree.
Which is what
Just-
which
every
is what the
movie we
genre
did,
is.
every movie we did could almost only really well. I guess Indecent Proposal probably could happen in somewhere like
Well, again,
No.
going
Monte
by
Carlo
Andy's-
or-
no, because going by Andy's definition of how we outlined it was, it's the American dream. Someone's going somewhere to win.
No, you're right.
to,
You're right.
To
Every
roll
movie
the
we-
dice, right?
every movie
You know,
we
always
chose
bet on black.
had
whatever.
to happen in Vegas.
Okay, so
Right.
so going by that outline, I'm just gonna real quick because go. Does it actually fit a Vegas movie, or could we just easily eliminate it from our? Top
I would
5?
agree. No, that's why I did not choose it.
Yeah, I agree.
It would have been a movie I chose.
How about-
Of that group I chose, it's probably my favorite movie of the whole thing. I just did not choose it. I think it was a Vegas movie.
I think you're solid with Bugsy. You're solid with Casino. I think you're solid with Indecent Proposal. Go. Con Air.
No, and
I
then-
know it has scenes that are in
It's
Vegas.
the end is
just
in
the
Vegas.
ending.
Right. So I would probably toss out Con Air. Here's one from Kevin's list: Rain Man. I know it has the iconic scene that
That's
he
why
takes
and
his
that
brother
is
to
why-
Vegas.
That is why that movie is on there, because it is such an iconic scene, because it is such a pop culture reference. I mean, look, that
Right.
Okay.
there's another movie on our top 10 mirrors that exact same, or on somebody's top
The
10,
Hangover, yeah.
mirrors that exact scene.
It's an homage.
That is
Yeah.
why that is on that list.
Okay. Up in the Air. How does it fit into the Las Vegas?
Well, so Up in the Air is I love that movie. It's very the where that fits is that is a transitional moment for George Clooney's character, to where he's out in front of the Luxor. They're trying to take a picture in front of the Luxor, and the dialogue between him and Anna Kendrick is one that is kind of like, she shows him and tells him that you're not living a full life. You think you're living a full life, but you're not living a full life. And he'd already been asking himself that question when he's been dating I forget the female role's name in that movie.
I forget her name in the movie.
But when he'd been dating her and meeting her, not knowing that she's already married and this, that, and the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's wanting to settle. He's finding these emotions, and he's trying to find a willingness to change, and that happens in Vegas. And then when he's back in Vegas at the end for his gold quest, diamond level, is your backpack empty or full talk? He leaves Vegas to go find her, and only to get his heart broken and to say that, yes, I really am fulfilled. All I need is what's in my backpack. And all of that happens in Vegas, except for the broken heart part.
So Jesse, how do you defend Dodgeball, a true underdog story, as a Vegas film?
Well, it is more of a backdrop. I guess you could have a dodgeball competition anywhere. There is a very important part of the movie where Patches.
Oh, that's right.
He dies in the casino.
Yeah, he
gets hit.
From the sign from the new slots.
The pot of gold sign
That's
falls
right.
on his head.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's a very transitional
lucky
part of the
the
movie.
Irish.
If you call it that to me, you die in a casino, your life really changes, and that's transitioning.
Absolutely.
Also
Into
on your
something.
list, Swingers. Because now, here's what I want to say about Swingers. I really like the film, and if we were doing a top 5 on like most quotable films, boom, I'm throwing it on my most quotable list. I really like Swingers, but I feel like it's more indicative of Los Angeles
Oh, no,
culture.
Los Angeles. I know.
And the fact
you're
that
right.
they go to Vegas, they party in Vegas, they come back.
Yeah.
I get that, and it's fun.
It starts off with a bang. I mean, it starts off so much fun. They start off in Vegas. So that to me, that's what we're like, oh, Swingers. And then we actually watched it again. And when we were watching it, I was like, this really is more of an LA movie. They're going
well,
to
that whole
I
like
get it.
scene, the scene in Vegas.
But it starts off so well with Vince Vaughn. Let's go to Vegas. So, I mean, I guess I wouldn't maybe call that a Vegas-driven movie, but it just makes the movie start off so well. I mean, you start in Vegas, it's only going to get better.
Sure.
But, I can see it not being your typical Vegas movie, but it kind of follows the criteria. They were going to find something to make Mikey needed
Make me happy.
something.
Exactly.
Maybe
He needed a
money,
rebound.
maybe a lady friend.
He needed a
to-
rebound.
But
I just
He
they
needed-
were
he
going
needed
for
a-
something.
He needed a win. That's
He
what
needed a win.
He needed a win.
There's a lot of
You know,
beautiful
and
babies
there's,
in Vegas.
There's a lot of odds that that are against you everywhere else, but why not go roll
That's
your
true.
dice somewhere where
Okay.
if you're going to win, why not try to win big?
I don't know if I'm convinced, but okay.
Okay, well, you can toss it, but I still
Well, and, I mean,
Watch the
regardless,
first-
it didn't make
watch
our
the
top
first
5.
15 minutes.
It didn't make
It didn't
our
make it.
top 5 watch list, right? The official DP watch list.
And then just to, I guess, throw it back at myself I just want to talk about The Cooler for a second. I know it was my number one film that I thought of when I thought of Las Vegas movies. And when you think about, what I love about it the most is it takes everything we're talking about going to Vegas and getting lucky and having the American dream happen for you because you out of all people are special, that you're going to be the lucky one that's going to win. The Cooler takes all that and flips it on its head because it's about a guy who is so unlucky and he's trapped in Vegas, and all he wants to do the entire movie is leave Vegas so he can go somewhere else and be happy and live the American dream. But because of his unluck and he's developed this relationship with this mobster, and he has to stay there. And because what he does is he goes up to tables where people are winning, and his luck is so bad that you get his bad luck and you start losing. And he's paid to do this, and he has to pay off this debt to his best friend who's also a mobster. But he's almost paid out of his debt, and he wants to leave and escape Vegas. So I really like it, not only because it makes me think of Vegas. I thought of it first, but because it flips everything I'm talking about on its head. He has to leave Vegas to get the American dream.
Yeah, no, that makes
That's
sense.
a good choice.
I like that. I like that idea. I'd never seen the film.
I've never seen the film
I just looked it up.
either.
Was William H. Macy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
And
Oh,
that's
love
one
him.
I'll have to watch.
Okay.
It's really good.
Fantastic. Well,
Right.
I think we've got to just to shore up our list. So the official Dirty Penguin watch list wound up out of all of those movies that we just talked about. The official Dirty Penguin watch list for our top 5 movies with a backdrop in Las Vegas will line out to be Leaving Las Vegas, Indecent Proposal, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Showgirls, and Casino. Our first movie that we're going to be discussing in our next episode will be
Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas. Sounds great. All right, we'll see you next time.
Oh.